Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Tuesdays in the Shop.
Only one of us is in the shop, as you may notice. I am. Yvette is off-site this evening. But we're going to talk to you about Color Journey, which is one of the year-long programs that we do. This one, as you would imagine, is all about color. We use the book, The Quilter's Field Guide to Color by Rachel Hauer, and there are challenges throughout the book that we've sort of broken it down so that each month there's a challenge. Well, there's like a chapter to read. There's a swatch challenge, which one of the great things about this book is that it comes with swatches. So I was actually just playing with my little swatches here. So in the back of the book, there's like 150 different little swatches, kind of like paint chips. And they all have a number and a color name. So this one is coral. So that when we're doing those challenges, we can look at these two. Let's see, I'll pick two of my greens here. So I can pick two greens, and which green is more yellow, which green is more blue. And we can talk about those things while we know we're actually looking at the same colors.
Especially because we do this virtually, right? Like all of us are on our own computers in our own houses, and everybody is pretty aware that the monitor display doesn't really translate well to real life, right? So like on Andrea's computer, my orange shirt might look terracotta, and on somebody else's it might look like peach or whatever, right?
But exactly. Yep.
I had one of those swatches here, which I don't happen to have one, but I could literally pick the swatch that looks the most like my shirt, and I could put it up to my shirt, and then
exactly
Andrea with her swatch would know what color that is because she has the exact same swatch at home. Yeah, which color is that, Andrea?
Well, it's sort of in between sea turtle and azure, kind of closer to sea turtle, I think. I didn't dump all of my swatches out, so there might be one that's closer. But that just gives you an idea for how we can all talk about color and know that we are looking at the same colors instead of on screen. If I put up a picture and say, well, I like this color, but this one is too warm or too cool or too red or whatever, the picture you're looking at on screen might look totally different.
It has totally happened to us, even the two of us.
Absolutely.
Where we're looking at the same digital mock-up of, I don't know, some new fabric or a new quilt design or whatever, and we're having a conversation where neither of us is understanding the other because one of us is like, well, the blue one, and the other one's like, that's not blue, that's green. And you know, so
that's definitely happened.
It's very handy to have those real life physical chips when you're having these conversations.
That was one of the reasons we chose this book, actually, was because we had been talking about trying to do something with color online for a while. But my hang up was, well, we can't do it virtually because I don't know, you don't know what color I'm looking at, and I don't know what color you're looking at, and I don't know how to overcome that. But this book was a great solution because with this, we do know that we're all looking at the same colors.
And this is the book we're talking about.
Yep, a hands-on workbook for mastering fabric selection. And another reason that this is a great book is because it's fabric specific. This isn't, you may have taken art or color classes in the past, maybe, mixing paint colors or in photography or something like that. But those are very different mediums. I was actually talking to a customer earlier today about that, and she said, she's taking painting and drawing color classes and different things, but was having a very hard time applying that to her quilting and her fabric choices because it was just too different for her. So this, we do start out by using the little color chips. And as we get further through the book, we don't use them as much. Once you get a little bit more comfortable using the colors, the fabrics in your stash, that's another big part of the book, is using what's in your stash, and and growing a useful stash,
Yeah.
so that you have fabrics on hand that you can use readily and that you like. That's the other thing. It's a lot of identifying what you like, what you don't like, and knowing what those colors will go with, how to use them, and that's that sort of a thing, so that you have fabrics on hand that will be useful to you.
Yeah. And so the way this works is this is a year long, we call them journeys, because we like the idea of a growth and an exploration, right? Um, we could have just called it class, but it doesn't have the same feeling for what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to accomplish something where you start somewhere and you journey through and you end up somewhere
Mhm.
else, right? We have several different journeys that run, and they aren't necessarily all 1 year long, but this one is 12 months. And the reason we're talking about it right now is because it reboots and starts over in January again. So we start over from the beginning of the book in January, and then Andrea has organized the book into 12 discrete sections so that everyone is working on the same concept in the same month, and then we can all
Right.
share what we've all done, what we've all learned, help each other if we got stuck, that kind of
Yes.
um,
Yeah, there is a lot of sharing and learning from each other as well. So each month we'll put up. So basically, each month there'll be just a short little blurb that which pages to read in the book, what pages the challenges are on, and then it's up to you. Maybe you can't do it every month. Like, we all have lives, things get busy, and maybe you can't do March. Totally fine. You can come back and do it later. You can skip it entirely. Anything is fine. You're not getting graded.
yeah,
It's a low stress.
no one's going to check if you did it. That's
Exactly.
true.
Exactly. Nobody's checking. Nobody's. But having said that, you
You don't
get
even
out what you put in. So if you kind of flip through the book and, like, oh, that's neat, but you don't actually do any of the challenges, you just won't get as much out of
Yeah,
it
that's a good
as
point.
if you did the challenges.
Yep.
But it was really interesting to watch people grow and progress over the year. We've done it 2 years now,
Wait, 2 or
and
3?
no, it's been two.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
No, yeah, 2023 will be the third. So yeah, we're just starting the third year. And yeah, and watching people get better, and hearing them talk about how much more confident they feel, and how they understand some of their choices better, and they know how to talk about color better, which just makes them more
Right.
confident, which is really what it's all about. Like, people say that they're not good with color or they don't understand, but I don't think that's really true. I think it's just you just don't have the confidence,
And the
and
vocabulary too. So,
yes, absolutely, and
like,
vocabulary. Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot.
knowing how to explain the thing that you think you maybe
Exactly.
have a feeling, but
Exactly.
you don't have the words for it. Yeah.
Right. Right. And you've heard someone say that's a warm gray or a cool gray or very blue red, and you're thinking, like, what? Like, red isn't blue. What are you talking about?
Or
Um,
you don't have enough contrast in the values in your
yep.
fabric, right? Value
Absolutely. Yeah.
is one that really throws people.
That might have sounded foreign to you, but throughout this journey, you will learn about those things and be able to know what they mean and understand better, how to talk about them and how to understand it.
Yep. And the more people who sign up, the more fun it is for everybody because
Yes, for
when
sure.
we all get together and share and we show each other's work and we collaborate, that is adding a whole new level because people come up with things you would never come up with, right? And
Absolutely. Yep. That's one of the things that's so great about it. And we have people of a lot of different, at least in the past, we've had people from a lot of different skill levels. Some people, I think, well, have been, I can't say what's going to happen next, but we have had people that are pretty good with color. They're just kind of keeping those creative juices flowing and that kind of thing, staying sharp. And because it's fun, who doesn't like playing with color? I mean,
fabric.
Right, exactly, and fabric. So yeah, some of those, but then we have other people that couldn't don't know warm from cool, blue from red, and that's totally fine. And everybody works together, learns from each other. It's not there's no judgment. Um, it really is kind of starting from scratch, really.
So let's real quick talk about like the logistics of how we run this, right? So, like we mentioned, this is a completely virtual class that lasts an entire year. So, when you register, you are given access to the online learning platform, which is actually inside our Gotham Quilts community, which you may have heard us talking about. Gotham Quilts community is sort of like our own little version of Facebook, minus the advertising and like
And the data breaches and security
no
issues.
one's trying to sell you leggings on
Right.
our site. Much better than actual Facebook. I'm gonna just share my screen so you can see what it looks like. So when you log in, when you buy your subscription, I don't even know if you call it a subscription, but whatever. When you register for the class, we are going to mail you a copy of the book so that you can work along from the book with the class. And you're also going to get an email inviting you to join the color journey section of our Gotham Quilts community. And it looks like this. You'll see that there's a table of contents. Well, the button at the top says table of contents. Then there's something that says feed, one that says members, so you can see everybody else that's in the group, and one that says events. In the table of contents, you'll see that we've broken everything down by month. So when you first join, it says start here. So hopefully you would click this, right? And this is our introduction to what's going on here, how the schedule works, what we're doing, what all these things mean, right? For this journey, we meet on on
Third.
the third Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock New York City time. And that's a live Zoom meeting. When you click on the events tab, you'll see Color Journey monthly Zoom meetup. And this is all you need to do is you go into Color Journey, you click this, and then you click the Zoom link. You can never really lose your Zoom link because it's all in here, all in one place,
Yeah,
which
you
is
don't have to search for an email or any of that stuff.
this is why I chose this platform. This is called Mighty Networks. If you're familiar with that, there's a bunch of other creative people who are using Mighty Networks to have their own communities. And I've been really happy with the feature set that this provides. So let's go back to the table of contents. So like you already read your, start here information. Here's January, or if you were to join, say in August, you would still click on January or the first month, right? This is supposed to be the introduction. And we have all this information in here, and here you can see that this is the video that we did in January of 2022 when this ran last time, right? So pretend you couldn't make it to our 6 p.m. third Thursday meeting in January. You can watch the video later on your own time and not miss anything that was covered, not miss anybody's projects or discussion. And then there's even place down here where you can leave a comment and suggestion. Also, we have this thing called a feed where students in the journey can post their own pictures anytime they want. So sometimes the members will post their projects for that month in the feed, and then we'll look at it together in the meeting from the
And
feed. So
then
what,
anyone can comment and
yes,
yeah,
help each other.
other members. Yep.
Yep. We've had people like, share their stashes or share wherever they got it from. Or
And share things that aren't specific to the journey either, but just want to share because they during this challenge they thought of this quilt that they made 3 years ago and
oh, right.
that sort of thing. And we're all about that. I mean, heck, we love sharing quilts. But yeah, so you can see.
So you'll see that everything's broken out by month to make it easy to understand which part of things are we on. So we were going to show you February, which is, you'll see it's using temperature is the concept that we're learning in this month. So we have, wait, was this the one I was supposed to do?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll see that we've set up this, the the term we're using is experiment, right? So experiment number one, using temperature. This is actually an image directly from the book section talking about temperature. So your quote unquote homework is to read this part of the book and do the experiment that she talks about in the book. We're saying you don't have to do the block. There's a block pattern in the book. So if you want somebody to choose something for you to do, you can definitely do the block that's in the book. It's an awesome, what's the block
It's a
called?
bear paw.
Bear paw. But you don't have to. People have done all kinds of different ones.
Yeah, this last year I don't think anyone did the bear paw.
Oh, that's interesting.
A couple people, several people did do the same block throughout the year, but it wasn't the bear paw.
This is the same thing. Once that meeting was over, I uploaded the video of our Zoom so that anyone who couldn't make it to that meeting, or heck, even if you could make it to the meeting, but you wanted to watch it again later, you are welcome to do that during the entire year that you have access to Color Journey. And then the other thing we were going to show you is the, Andrea mentioned the swatch challenge part.
Right. Yeah. I sort of skipped. There's the swatch challenge, at least at the beginning of the book, is using the color chips that come with the book. So for this particular one, challenge one, it's warm and cool. So I think you pick like a warm, cool, or warm green and a cool green, warm purple, cool purple, that sort of thing out of your swatches. So
and you're literally just putting your swatch on these spots so that you can see what you came up with and like work through them.
Exactly. So here I have two greens. One is more turquoise and one is more of a heavy green. So one of these is cool and one is warm. So that's just a quick example.
So the cool one is the bluer one, and the warm one is the greener one.
Yellower one. Yep. That's right. And so there's the swatch challenge, but then there's also the patchwork challenge where you get to actually play with fabric because that's what most of us want to do. So you go into your stash, or if you don't have a stash, that's okay too. It doesn't have to be fabric. You could go to the paint store and get paint chips. You could use yarn, whatever you have available that you can use.
Markers.
Right. Whatever. We're pretty easy. But most of us have fabric and want to use fabric. So she does give you the bear paw block as an example, but like we said, you don't have to use that one. Usually I think you want a 3-color block though, at least to start, so that you can, you have at least enough to do the warm purple and the warm green and that sort of thing. You don't want like 10 colors.
Or two. Two isn't enough either, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, you want that like 3, maybe 4 in your block. And it's nice because people have ended up with a finished quilt at the end if they do the same block for all the challenges. And they've come together really nice. Yvette actually scrolled through a couple of the finished blocks from 2022, finished quilts, or one was finished, one was still in progress. But yeah, they came out really great.
We've also had some people pick like a quilt that they really wanted to do to work through in the class. So if you have a more scrappy sampler style quilt, you can easily just work through that book at the same time as you're doing the color experiments, like, block one in the book, do experiment.
We've had a couple people use the Tulip Pink 100 blocks city sampler book. And that one, most of those blocks work pretty well. Some of them get maybe 6 or 7 colors, but for the most part, they do, 3 or 4 colors. And those work pretty well too. So that you can absolutely do that as well. It's very flexible, and it should be tailored for what you want to get out of it.
Yeah. And like, there's no pressure. We're all really friendly and supportive.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, you get to play with color for a little while every month, and whether it's with your chips or your fabrics. And then at the end of the year, once we've gone through, the challenges and you've made all this progress, the final challenge is to just do a fabric pull. So if there's a quilt you've been wanting to make, if there's a specific fabric you've wanted to use, that's the chance to put all of your knowledge into work and, do a poll, get some feedback on it, um, and, share what you want to do. And we had some really nice
Yeah.
ones.
And you might be thinking that this sort of ties back into our Stump Andrea game, and it totally does, right? Like, kind of everything we do feeds back into each other and builds off of each other. And our mission with our business is to promote quilting as a hobby.
Hmm.
Um, and how we do that is by educating our customers, right? Like, yeah, we sell fabric too, but if you don't know what to do with it, that's not so helpful, right? So we
Yeah.
want to help,
Yeah. And if I
inspire.
can get, right. If I can get you excited and inspired, that's great.
Yep.
And it's all a secret ploy just to allow me to get to play with fabric all day.
Yeah. And me too.
Not as much.
Yeah, that's true. Cause I get distracted by thread. My
Well, you
current,
have to do more computer stuff too.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yes, you also do get distracted by thread. I mean, I play with thread too, but yeah, you get a
You're
little,
not so into the handwork.
not as much.
she's more the machine sewing, machine
Yeah, I
piecing.
need the instant gratification.
Yeah. And I've gotten really into embroidery and like wool applique and collecting weird threads that I just ordered some wool
Mhm.
thread from Baldani just to see what it was like. And it was like, oh, this is so pretty. I think we should sell this. And Andrea's like, no, we have enough thread.
Yeah, where would we put it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the constant question every time. She's like, "Oh, let's sell this." I'm like, where?
Yeah. We're
Anyway,
like,
that's a different topic. We got off course.
yeah, what else is new? Does anyone have any questions that we can answer about Color Journey? Um, I think, should we show anything else? Any of the other challenges or?
Well, there was one other thing I did want to mention. If you already happen to have this book, you can also select to get a fat quarter bundle instead of the book, so that because you don't need two of them. So that's also an option. So don't let that stop you. That was the only thing I thought of while you were talking.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
But yeah, if you guys have questions, yeah, I feel like I've been answering questions all day about this on the phone, people coming in, which is
Yes.
great because I love talking about it. So,
What's an example of a question you got today?
well, a couple people didn't realize that it was going to be virtual,
Okay.
which I feel like we've kind of covered here.
Yes.
Someone was talking about being nervous, which is what I hear a lot. Like
Yeah, people are
people that
so
just
intimidated.
yeah, they're because they just don't have that confidence, and that makes me sad. Like I don't want you to be afraid, especially of color, like it's so fun and important to our well-being, I think. Um
And it's like
yeah,
anything
it
else. Like
shouldn't be intimidating.
if you've ever taken a class with me, you have for sure heard me say, nothing we do in life are we born knowing how to do, right? Like my joke is always like the only thing you were as good at the first time as the last time was like sitting down and watching television. Like you do not need to practice that,
Right.
right? You're a pro the first time you do it.
Yeah.
Everything else takes practice, right? So the more exposure you have, the more comfortable you get.
Yeah.
Um, you
There's
even
also no wrong color. Like, putting two colors together, it can't be wrong. If
have,
you like it, that's all that matters.
oh,
I mean,
Sandra just said in the comments that it was fun and I learned a great deal.
yes.
Yay.
Yeah, we had fun. Yes, and then the next question, are you both teaching the class? We're both usually there,
Yeah.
but I usually kind of run the show a little
Yeah.
bit.
I'm usually running the Zoom and the like.
Yeah, she's there for technical support.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I do it by myself. I think the last time I did it by myself, though, I forgot to record it. So we try to
We
not
have
let
different
that happen.
skills, you know. We
Yes,
complement.
very different skills. Yeah, so we do kind of team up, but yeah, we have different.
Yeah, I actually was saying that I should probably actually take it this year because I haven't really been sewing, right? And like maybe this would be a way to make myself sew every month and have a small project, right? Like,
That's another thing I was talking to someone about earlier today. Because if you're anything like me, you have all these ideas and projects you want to do, but you have so many other things pressing you for time that unless you have us, on my calendar from 6 to 8 on this date,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to do, it isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But so this way, it's a prompt for you to make sure that, every week, or not every week, month, you at least have a little bit of time to
Yeah.
to set aside for yourself to work on this.
And then like the time that we spend in the actual Zoom is not like we have it booked as 6 to 8 p.m., but we almost never go to 8. And it
No,
really does depend on how many people come. So if only like 2 people come, the meeting is much shorter, right? Because there isn't that much interaction, there isn't that much to show.
which I don't think it's ever. Yeah, I don't think only 2 people have ever come, but yeah, that would
In
be a quick one.
my journey from last year, I had only 2 people come a lot. I was doing pincushion journey in 2022, and that didn't work so good. Yeah, color journey people show up for, and that's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Is every month a theme, like summer colors or mood color or holiday color? Um, there's a challenge, so it isn't really a theme necessarily. So
Want
what
to
the first?
share the
Yeah,
thing?
let's do that. We'll share the table of contents again because I can't remember each one. I know the first one is temperature, so whether colors are warm or cool.
Using temperature.
Yes. So the next one is seasonal inspiration. So summer colors, fall colors, winter colors. And that one is interesting because it's really open to interpretation. And we had people joining us from Arizona, Hawaii, um, all over. So their concept of winter might
Right.
be very different than my concept of winter.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
was
very
interesting. That made that month a little bit more interesting. Let's see, and then we have
exploring emotion.
emotion. So there's a whole psychology behind color, and scientists have studied these things. Like orange makes you hungry, and blue suppresses your appetite. Um, all kinds of things. So yeah, kind of getting into some of that a little bit. So if you are trying to, maybe you're making a quilt for someone that's recovering from an illness, and you want happy, bright, energetic colors,
Yeah.
that sort of a thing. Or you want it to go in a baby's room, and you want it to be very calm and soothing colors.
Right. Not make them super hyper.
Exactly, right. So exploring those, that's what exploring emotion means. Color wheel, using rainbow colors. Value is one that I hear a lot of people have problems with. And value is just how light or dark a color is. So I kind of piled all my scraps up here, but we could have, well, that's not really,
The wrong thing.
looking for one here that is actually a good example. So this might be an example. I know I'm just tiny, but one of those colors is lighter and one is darker. So
Oh, I
that's value.
Do
It can get, oh, should I do it again?
it
It can get more complicated than that. But that's the basic light, dark. And like most, to have a successful quilt, usually you want a mix of lights and darks, large scale, small scale, that sort of a thing. So it's in fitting with that.
Do you think value is the most important of these color concepts to understand? No.
I don't. I
Which one
don't
do you
know if I would pick one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the value one is also interesting because that's the one month you don't look at color.
Right.
So it is a color journey, but for that month, there no color. It's all lighter, darker, light, dark, medium, light, dark.
But
So you
that
have
would
to,
be within a color, right? Like it would be medium
yes,
white
absolutely,
and red or whatever.
absolutely, yes. But it could be, these two. One is light and one is dark.
So
Uh,
Lisa's saying, doesn't the perception of color change based on what color it's next
yes,
to?
yes, and that's
Hooray!
another challenge.
Yep.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It definitely
But me
changes.
personally, I think value is probably the most important thing to learn because it, it's so confusing how you can have like an orange and a green and make a quilt block and then it looks like nothing and it's like
Yeah.
flat, even though
Right.
the colors are very different. Like if you take a picture in black and white, it looks like
Mhm.
nothing because if the value is the same in the green and the
Yep.
orange, then you don't end up with anything. So for
That's true.
me, value is the one that I really like drive into.
Yep.
Like that's an important one to really internalize, you know.
Yeah, it is definitely important for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think all of it works together. Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
no, there is no one thing that's,
Well, this is also a good example of you being way better at this than me, right? So like I have a more simplistic grasp of these concepts
yeah,
and you're an
yeah,
expert, right? So yeah.
yeah. And to me, I don't like using the black and white or those red filters or whatever. Not that it doesn't work, it just it gives you, it's only one part of the picture.
Right.
But yeah, that's, again, we're kind of going off on tangents here.
Yeah.
We have another question. What about patterns? Any notes, advice on picking, working with solids versus busy? Yes. So as we go through the book, once we've gotten more color language and experience, then we do move on to pattern, style, things like that. So there's not a huge emphasis on that, but we definitely talk about it and what fabrics, and then yeah, towards the end of the book, it's about building a stash that you can use. If you're going to the fabric store, what kinds of things you should be looking for to fill in. And yes, she has a concept of helpful fabrics versus limiting fabrics. That's what she calls it. Your blenders and your solids and things like that are your helpful fabrics because they'll go with all kinds of things. Limiting fabrics are going to have a more specific. So like this is not
Very
going to go with
limiting.
everything.
Right.
This is a limiting fabric. You have to
Yeah.
have the right application, the right, it isn't just going to go with whatever you put with it. Whereas, something like this is going to go with a lot of things.
Right.
So that kind of concept.
We got a question about the rainbow fat quarter bundle. Is it solids or
It's
prints?
prints, blenders mostly though, because it is majority colors. I can show you one fabric. One of the fabrics that's in it is this one. So just to give you an idea of the kinds of things. So mostly blender, mostly helpful fabrics.
Right.
Let's see. Any other questions?
I was just thinking, so we already have, I think, 18 people signed up for next
Oh,
year.
good.
And I was thinking, would we cut off if we got to a certain number? We've never had that come up with before, but like, what if we had 100 people? That would be pretty unbearable.
That would be a little difficult to manage. I think if we do get to that point, we can maybe split them up.
Oh yeah, we could do like 2 sessions or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I think we'll when we get to that, we'll
It
figure
would
it
be
out.
a good problem if we got to that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover, right?
I think so, and it looks like people are posting, less questions.
Yeah. So if you do think of something you want to know that you didn't think of during this video, you're welcome to email us. You're always welcome to email us. It's
Absolutely.
info@gothamquilts.com. And we'll get right back to you. If
Mhm.
not, we would love to have you. Just
Yeah,
register on our website and we will get your book or bundle. If you pick the bundle, we'll get it shipped to you right away. And then our first meeting is
the 19th.
the 19th. Okay. It's
Yeah,
third
I've been telling people,
Thursday of the month.
but let me just confirm. I'm pretty sure it is. I've said a lot of dates. Yes, January 19th. Thursday,
Yeah.
January 19th.
Yay. Thank you, Pamela.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Join. That's awesome.
Hopefully we answered your questions, got you excited. I'm excited for another round. I love talking about color. I love playing with color.
This is your favorite class, you know?
It's up there.
Yep. So thanks everybody for coming and happy all the holidays.
Yes, we'll be off next week.
Yep.
No video.
We're closed from this Saturday, the 24th. We're closed all the way through January 2nd, and we reopen on January 3rd. And a quick note that starting in 2023, our hours are switching. Our new hours are 12 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, starting in the new year. So instead of having a slightly offset time for Saturdays, we're going to do the same 12 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. That way it's easy for everybody to remember. And next week we're all on vacation, but our website's still open. We are still shopping.
Yep. And there was some confusion today. We are open this Friday. So we're open all day Friday, normal hours, closed Saturday.
Yep. The 24th. Yep.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, email us, drop a comment, and we hope you'll join us for a year of color, another year of color. I hope we never have a year without color ever.
I hope not. That would be terrible.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.